Hello and welcome back to a horrific horror review. I'm Jim King,
I'm Eric Bonifield.
and we're going to talk about the last 10 years of not so disappointing horror movies.
Relatively new horror movies, yeah. Especially for you and me.
The last 10 years is totally new to me.
Really new. 10 years ago was
And
new.
it was hard to look, too, because I kept thinking these new ones that I kind of liked were 2003, 2005. So more than 10 years.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that are, they're definitely new millennium,
Yes.
in the 2000s.
It's hard to weed through all the found footage, paranormal activities type flicks.
There's
And
a lot of them.
But I formulated a pretty solid list, actually.
Okay.
I put them by year. I know you're all over the place, so
I'm
we'll
all
just
over,
go back
yeah.
and forth. I'm going to start out with one from 2008
Okay.
that it surprised me all over the place.
Okay.
Repo, the Genetic Opera.
So fun.
So fun.
So fun, dude.
Visually stunning.
Mhm.
Great acting, great cast.
Great
A
voice.
musical. Right?
Surprisingly, some good singing going on in that movie. Who surprised me the most in that movie was the guy who he's on Buffy. He's the, gosh, I don't even know.
I've never watched Buffy, so I can't help you out.
I never watched Buffy either, but I know he's on
Was
Buffy.
he the guy that was selling the blue juice?
I want to say yeah.
He just seems like the type that would have been on Buffy.
Fuck, is it?
I loved Ogre's character.
Okay.
Avi.
Okay.
And just because I'm a huge fan of Skinny Puppy and stuff, too. But,
Skinny Puppy is one of those bands that never got a whole lot of, they totally didn't get 9 Inch Nails.
but they
respect.
should have, and they inspired
And they should
9
have.
Inch Nails like no other.
No one knows Nitzareb.
Right?
No one knows Nitzareb, but everybody knows Trent.
They will when Hot Topic makes a t-shirt out of it again.
Ugh.
Fuck, exactly. So yeah, that's my opening good feel for 2008. I've got 2 of them for 2008.
Okay.
Actually, I have 3. I've got to mention The Ruins because I love plant monsters.
I like plant monsters too.
But my number 2 was Dead Girl.
Okay, I haven't seen this.
It was horrific.
It was horrific.
Yeah, I mean, kids charging admission to this girl that you can kill and comes back to life. And it turns sexual, it turns aggressive, it turns horrible. They've got her down in this basement thing. Basically, she's a vampire by the end.
Okay.
Kind of is. She's a monster.
Okay.
But very graphic. Very.
Graphic how? Give me an example.
Having sex with a dead girl.
Dig it.
Okay.
Graphic. That kind of graphic.
Coming from 2 guys that dug a baby's grave today.
Dude! Today
was a hard day.
That was a hard day. That sucks when you gotta do some shit like that. I hate that.
So what about you? Last 10 years.
Man.
What stood out for you?
Okay, so I watched a movie last year that really fucking surprised me because it had a couple douchebags in it, and I was like, this won't be scary.
Okay.
Life.
I agree
Life,
wholeheartedly.
starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Deadpool, and
Died off quick. I was really surprised by that.
well, I think that was the point.
Maybe.
Is that Ryan Reynolds was
They kept that budget down.
He's a hot button guy right now. He's real hot right now.
He said, I'll be in your movie, but it's got to be short and quick.
And it was like I think people were expecting him to be the hero of
I
the
was,
movie.
when I saw him in the,
And
the
he was
cast
the
list.
first motherfucker
to go.
to be, not the first guy to interact and be, harmed by the monster, but he was the first kill of the movie.
And it was Calvin, right? Was that the name?
It's, okay, so the International Space Station is receiving a package from Mars. A rover landed, took some samples of Martian soil, and has sent it back. And
that's how the movie started, is he has to catch it.
Ryan Reynolds has to catch it. And they're
cool.
kind of like, hey, we shouldn't do this because the thing's coming in fucking hot. Something was wrong. It's just flying in. And Ryan Reynolds is like, this is too important to science. I can do this. And he does it, and
And
it's
he
all,
does it.
woo!
Hero time,
You know, the world
right.
celebrates. And what's cool is everyone's watching this, like, live. You know, this movie shows a world that is interested in NASA again.
Yeah, the
Which
kids
I
are
thought
excited.
was,
I was
kids were
excited
excited about it.
When
And
I was
I
a kid,
think
we used to watch the launches.
we used to watch right until a teacher
Until one of them
exploded in launch.
blew up.
And
Yes.
with the thing, it was a teacher, the
It was.
Challenger. It was, and because it was a teacher, all of our teachers were like, "You got to watch this launch."
My science teacher
unfortunately-
was one of the people that was in the running to go.
Really?
Like if 2 or 3 other people somehow got sick or died in the interim, he would have gone.
Oh, cool.
So it was an extra impact. We were all just like,
it was hard.
Tears and shocking. We
it was
watched it on
that
live
was-
TV.
The Challenger shuttle explosion was a hard thing to watch, and it definitely came to mind when I was watching this movie because of that. Because
Right,
of
me too. With the kids down on the ground, all
Because
excited.
the
and
students name.
they got to decide the name of
So okay, they receive this package from the Mars rover, and it's got Martian soil in it. And they come to find that there is a biological material in the Martian soil.
Mm-hmm.
They
all you have to do is heat it up or cool it down to the perfect temperature and let it fly.
they add some sugar to like feed it,
something like that, yeah,
and bring it back to life basically. And it grows quick,
fast, and really cool looking too.
Cool looking creature. At first, it's very. It's almost like if you took something with petals.
It reminded me of like from the abyss, almost like those, the ones that were they were floaty like petals. They almost looked
very
like
similar
plant life, but at the same time like a jellyfish thing.
Very similar. It was like if you crossed a jellyfish with something more like
great white shark,
octopus,
that too.
Octopusy type.
And he was a cute little guy at first.
At first, he was. He was adorable, and he was communicating with.
Yes. Moving.
Mimicking. The biologist who initially interacts with Calvin, which is the alien. He is paraplegic, and we don't notice it at first because they're in space and there's no gravity. Which comes into play later in a really scary fucking scene, and it's awesome. And if you haven't seen it, I won't ruin it for you because that's one of the things about this movie. It surprised me.
Yeah, see, I can't. I keep wanting to talk about it, but the more I think about it, it
will ruin the movie because
go see it.
It's a smart movie.
Yeah, it is.
Life is a smart.
It is with a great cast and a great ending. Great ending.
Great ending. Great everything. Great fucking middle. It slowed down maybe a half a tick there, like
only enough to let you catch your breath though. And then it was right back.
I will agree because it picks up and you're like, holy fuck! It makes you crawl. It makes your skin crawl. And you know what was another? You know what another one that I watched only recently, but it's not. It's a few years old. Was Attack the Block.
Yeah, it's amazing. 2011, actually.
Great creatures. Great monsters.
Great creature. I loved how you thought that their eyes were glowing, and it wasn't. It was a very simple, like, fucking bear wolf looking thing, but the teeth is what glowed, and it glowed blue, which it just sold me on it. It had like not that it had anything to do with Tron, but it had that Tron lighting feel to me, which sucked me in. And it had Finn, from fucking Star Wars.
Right, yeah, I think that's
where he got the job.
I agree. I think Attack the Block is where he
gave a solid lead performance in that movie.
I was really happy with him in that movie.
Yeah,
It was a great movie. It was kind of a feel-good movie.
Right.
It was very much a movie about kids from the wrong side of the tracks.
Man. Yeah.
That they're from the wrong side of the tracks. And they might do shitty things, but they'll still save the planet. They'll save the fucking Earth.
They end up protecting the girl that they robbed at the beginning of the movie because she lives on the block and apologized that they robbed her because they didn't know she lived on. Who is the new
Doctor Who, by the way? That girl.
Oh, really?
Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker.
I don't who.
Yeah, I know you don't. I who a bit.
Okay.
I'm not like my girlfriend who's like... has watched every episode of The New Who.
Okay.
I'm a Tom Baker guy. You know, all these girls fell in love with Tennant. They just fell in love with that dude.
It. I know there's like a blue-looking phone booth.
Yeah, that's all you need to know, man. Fuck it. But Attack the Block was really good. It was really, really good.
And fell between the cracks. Like, I didn't hear about it.
It did.
Like, again, I was really surprised that it was 2011.
Me too. I was like, where was this movie?
Right.
You know?
I mean, I probably saw it, 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Dude, I just saw it like 6 months ago.
Nice.
But I'm not super social.
So, for that same year...
Yeah.
I got a bunch in between that, but for that same year, it was a under the radar gems that year.
Okay.
Same year, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, that's a fun movie.
Which is so fun to me.
It's totally fun.
It made me laugh. It had the gore.
Mm-hmm.
The one-liners. A lot of great actors. That was a gem.
It's fucking funny.
Yeah, just hilarious.
It's funny as fuck.
You guys going camping? Fucking holding the sickle.
It was, yeah, those guys just wanted to make friends and be cool.
And have their chill fishing cabin.
And yeah.
It's like, why do these kids keep killing themselves on my property?
I love it. Alan Tudyk played Tucker, and he is, comic book convention people love that fucking guy.
Right.
He's kind of like the underdog.
Are you talking about the chubby one or the other one?
The other one.
The guy who played the pirate on Dodgeball.
Yes.
I love it. Steve the Pirate. Right?
Thank you. Everyone has a role, their favorite Alan Tudyk role.
Well, I saw him in something else too, where he was some psycho fucking bodyguard.
That was the Transformers movie. He was the best, shit. But he was the best part of that movie.
He was Turturro's bodyguard,
yes,
right?
Yeah, and it was the best scene in the movie where he cuts fucking loose in this bar,
and then has to be calm.
And he's and he's talking to him in German or something. Schnell, that clinks.
Another great one from that same year that I didn't hear about until 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Troll Hunter.
I can't tell you how much I fucking love that movie. That movie's on my list as well.
Right.
Troll Hunter caught me by surprise.
Me too. It was a Netflix recommendation.
I woke up in the morning, getting ready for work, turn on the TV. This fucking movie's on. This fucking with subtitles, and they're clearly Norwegian, and because I'm, Swedish, I'm all about the Norse shit.
All right.
And I'm, it gets cool real quick, real fast. And I took the day off fucking work that day.
Really?
Because I was like, I gotta stay. I can't go to work.
It had all those awesome Bigfoot elements.
Oh, yeah.
That's what sucked me in, is it felt like a Bigfoot hunt. And you gotta rub the piss all over you. You gotta be at the right place at the right time. And then when you finally see one, I was fucking sold. That was awesome.
They were cool.
They were really cool.
Different kinds of trolls.
I loved how it looked like one of the trees just turned around and started walking, and it was fuck yeah. It seemed like one of those movies where it was so low budget that it might have never paid off. So when I finally did see a troll and it was pretty high tech, I was excited. I was sold from there.
Great looking trolls.
Great looking. Yeah.
Especially the Troll Hunter is about a group of film students who are following what they think is a bear poacher. Right. And it turns out he's a troll hunter who works for the government, the Norwegian government, and he keeps the troll population in check. Mm-hmm. And we learned that high tension wires are actually fences to keep in monsters. Right. And I was like, I never looked at a high tension wire
the same ever again, right?
Cool movie, especially the cave trolls were especially good looking.
Cool.
I was like, is that practical effect? Is it computer effect? And that's when they killed it, because I was like, I can't tell what this is. Right. It looks real. And that's
it did.
Nailed it.
Right. It wasn't
I didn't know if it was
cheesy fucking CGI
or practical.
Yeah.
When it came to those cave trolls, I still don't know.
I don't either.
Because I don't want to know.
So nailed it, right?
So beautiful monsters in that movie.
So what do you got? What's next for you?
I watched a movie. Yeah, let's talk about this one. Fuck it. Well, because Sam Raimi is Evil Dead 2 had a huge effect on me when it first came out. It was one of these movies that it was on the news and shit. They were like, what are these fucking movies they're showing our fucking kids?
Right.
And I remember seeing a clip of the opening scene from Evil Dead 2 of Ash, being thrown through the forest, like, and twisting and turning, and bam, into the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And he hits face first into a puddle, and blah, 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 and then he comes up, raw, after a good long while.
Right.
Bruce Campbell held his breath like a motherfucker.
Right.
And I remember just being like, what is this movie? I was watching the news and about a news article about kids shouldn't be watching this shit. And I was like, I gotta go watch this shit.
Exactly. That always works out the opposite for them. Right?
Thanks, 60 Minutes. Because they introduced me to Sam Raimi and I was, everyone knows, every horror person knows Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
It's...
So are you calling that in the last 10 years, or is this...
No. Sam Raimi. Sorry.
Okay.
Drag Me to Hell.
Really?
I thought
it was on my list, but I bumped it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think because it's Sam Raimi and he hadn't done a horror movie in so long, he kind of hung his hat on that Spider-Man shit for
I was going to say, he
15 years
stuck himself up with the Spider-Man thing for a minute.
Yeah, and I really missed horror Sam Raimi.
I agree.
And that was... It wasn't Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, no.
But it was fun sometimes.
It was.
It was the nosebleed.
Right. It did have the elements that made it a classic for what we have to choose from.
I love the subject matter. I love the curse, the gypsy curse. How old school horror is that?
You have to love the gypsy curse. Right?
That was so universal horror to me.
Oh, yeah.
That movie.
Yeah, it had that feel, too. I agree.
And,
as much as you can recapture
at the same time, being over-the-top Sam Raimi gory.
Right.
Just ridiculous.
Back to the way it used to be, too.
Vomitous gory.
Right. Vomitous.
There is just slippery, Like, man, there's a lot of moisture in this movie.
It's a shiny movie.
Oh, God. Right. Just snot and... Great flick.
I'm glad it made your list then, because I bumped it.
Yeah, no, Drag Me to Hell is worth a rewatch. Definitely.
For
because you know what? You remember it as being, it wasn't as great as I hoped it would be. But I remember watching it recently and being like, this is way better than I remember it.
Okay. That's a reverse field.
I think the boyfriend, the Mac guy, Jeepers Creepers, Mr. Rose Tattoo.
Right.
I don't know his name. I do know his name, but I don't remember it right now. I think he could kind of put a funk on that movie for me as a viewer.
Okay.
I can't exactly say why necessarily.
It was a black cloud?
A little bit. Maybe it was just him at the time. I was just kind of sick of seeing him, maybe.
Maybe. Right. There's those actors where you're done.
Because I watched him again in Tusk, in Kevin Smith's Tusk.
That
and
is
I was
on
like,
my list.
I'm back on board with this kid.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere.
Tusk made my list.
It's like, man, if Kev can see something, if Kev sees something in you, I reconsider you.
Exactly.
That's how much I trust Kevin Smith.
I feel the same way about like Tarantino. When he brings somebody back, I'm back on board with it again.
He's good at that too.
He is.
He's good at digging out those gems. Like, you never even knew this motherfucker existed, did you?
Right? And you forgot
it's
how great
you're
they were
right. Quentin
30
did,
years
and
ago.
I'm going to go dig up what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Kevin Smith's one of those. Like, he'll pull out some actors. I'm like, really? Him? That's who you chose, Kev?
And then you see it's like, strong.
Oh, fuck. Interesting.
Right.
He learned how to write scripts from watching Fletch.
Nice. Okay.
Anyways. Yeah, Drag Me to Hell.
All right. I have a few that were just, I guess, more on point for what we were trying to do.
Okay.
Things that we were trying to go with stuff that it was surprisingly good, right? Over the last 10 years, worth a watch, something
Definitely.
that was I guess the one that really, there's two that really ring the bell on that for me, and then there's a bunch of stuff that fell under that I thought was great. That
Okay.
I'll call those honorable mentions, I guess.
Okay.
But the one that just actually saw three because I'm horrible and indecisive. There was three that I thought.
You say that a lot. Actually, there's two.
Yeah, what's my favorite movie? I'll tell you my top 500. Awesome. You know, so but The Conjuring, I think, really came out the gate strong,
dude.
And I almost didn't want to like it.
I didn't want to like it.
And I fucking loved it. I loved it. It did everything that a horror movie should.
I ended up liking it.
And they appealed to my 70s, late 60s feel-goods.
Sure.
So it really was strong.
Yeah.
And we could talk more about it. I'm going to say my 3, and then we can just jump through them.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods.
Okay.
I didn't see it coming. I thought it was going to be another piece of trash, especially when I saw it had Thor in it, or whatever. And I was like, this is going to be
playing a college student.
Totally, exactly.
Like,
and it ended up being
He's
fucking
35.
awesome. Exactly. Right.
What a dumbass!
And
still in college.
And see, I got like a top 10, but I'm going to pick my favorite one because I thought it was unique and different and cool. Yeah. American Mary. I don't know if you've watched it yet. I know I've tried to sell you on it.
No, I have not seen it, and I'm not remembering it either.
American Mary is, she's a medical student. She gets invited to a big dinner party with all these surgeons. They end up raping her. She ends up dropping out of medical school, basically, through a series of events. Yeah. Okay. Through a series of events, she ends up going to a strip club to get a job as a stripper, and ends up fixing this guy up. Like a mob situation kind of thing. He's been shot or something, and they're like, "You have medical training, right? We'll pay you this much cash to fix our dude under the table on this table in the basement."
Okay.
And then that turns into. I don't want to ruin the whole thing, but it turns into where she becomes a very specialized doctor. She starts doing really unique piercings and body modifications.
Interesting.
And, even to the point of like twins wanting to have their arms cut off and sewn on each other.
Wow, that's really bizarre.
Yeah, and like lots of sexual fetish modifications.
Okay.
And at the same
Real
time,
underground
she's exacting her revenge.
Which is an interesting world.
Yeah, really interesting that she gets... She dives in it. Yeah. Like, she turns one girl into a Barbie. Like, her anatomy's gone.
Interesting.
And then the husband comes home and he's like, "What the fuck did you do to my wife?" And that turns bad. No.
Really?
Yeah, it goes bad.
Is that a key part of the movie?
It is as part of it. The thing that really I enjoyed about it the most, other than the effects and the graphicness of it, was the spin of the revenge, where she's got the guy who was her teacher and the guy who instigated the rape and let it happen and stuff. Mm-hmm. She's got him in like a storage unit. And she's practicing all these body modifications on him.
How long has she had him in this unit?
Oh, a long time.
Oh, interesting.
She's keeping him alive for a long time. And every new surgery or modification that she wants to do, she does it on him first as practice.
This sounds wonderful.
So, by the time they find him, he's like
how much do you see?
Stump of a torso. Oh, she's pulling his teeth. She's cutting his legs off.
So it's hard to watch.
It's got all those hard to watch moments. Yeah.
I have a hard time with torture porn. I do. Like Saw and Hostel, and I have a hard time.
Okay, well, this will affect you then, probably.
I do.
But great twist, great
I've
story.
I've gotten hurt before, physically, and I know...
You know the feels.
Oh, man, it's not cool.
What else do you got? What's a...
I think the most important horror movie to come out in the last 20 years, and I'm not shitting you, was The Ruins. I think The Ruins was important. I think that movie and that book were, I don't know, all of a sudden I was reading a book and seeing a movie, and I felt 12 years old reading Stephen King again. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That book and that movie both did that same thing for me.
I thought that movie was fun and very underrated. It didn't
Underrated.
get the props. I want to say, and I'm totally talking on my ass, but I think it came out around the same time as Descent, or close, and I got them like cross-referenced for a long time.
Really?
And yeah, so I
guess
avoided both of them.
The Ruins, the Descent.
I don't know. I just avoided both of them. They both look like woman movies to me, and I don't mean that sexist. A lot of those times I don't really like those movies, but I still haven't seen The Descent.
The Descent is also on my list. It's funny you mentioned that. I love The Descent a lot. 6 women go into a cave.
Spelunking.
A cave that only one woman knows where they are. She lies. There's one woman who they all think they're going into a cave system that has already been mapped. And she one girl decides to, well, we're going to map this ourselves and we're going to name it ourselves and we're going to be, we're going to claim this bitch. Like, no one has fucking mapped this cave system out. And it's going to be ours. Like, we're going to fucking do it together. It's going to be awesome. We're going to do it as a group, as women. Girl power. Right? It's all bullshit. She wants to name it Juno fucking Cave because, that's her name.
Okay.
And she couldn't
go at it alone.
She was having an affair with one of the women's husband that's in the group.
Worthless.
There's a whole thing. I won't ruin any of because their relationships are kind of what make things happen in the movie. So I won't ruin any of that.
I want to get back to The Ruins. You said that is the most game changer in 20 years. I need more on that from you.
Before I'm done.
Because I thought it was great, but I didn't think it was...
The monsters in The Descent are really cool.
Okay.
Really cool. This is why I love The Descent. Practical effects movie.
Okay.
Girls in a cave with monsters.
And lots of blood, right?
Done. Tons of it.
Right, okay.
And
like every still I've seen, someone's covered in blood.
Yeah, it was great. Okay. Real gory. Great monsters. Just, you didn't need Michael Bay's $200 million to make...
Such a Michael Bay hater.
Fucking good!
He's molesting your child.
You want to talk about The Ruins?
I want to hear what your...
I don't know. What did it? What did I don't know. I gotta explore that with you. Apparently,
okay.
Fuck, man.
Because I loved the Mayan pyramid looking thing.
I did too.
I'm a plant guy. That's what
you said.
I'm all about.
Killer plants fuck you up.
The plants monsters was
Night of the Triffids.
Fucking awesome to me. It was
Little Shop of Horror.
Oh, Audrey? I fucking love Audrey.
Have you seen Night of the Triffids?
No.
Oh, if you love killer plants and like monster plants and shit.
Oh yeah, I do.
Watch Night of the Triffids, bro.
All right.
And if you like monster plant movies, if that's your thing.
I love plants and I love monsters, so why not, right?
Yeah. Night of the Triffids is definitely a good one. But The Ruins, I did. It just
what I can remember, there was no big name actors. It wasn't heavily advertised. I mean, there was no action
one
figures,
huge in it.
Yeah,
no one huge in it. I think the lead girl of the movie, is the most well known of the actors in the movie. I think.
Okay.
She was in Hunger Games and shit.
Okay. That's probably why I don't know her.
I do know that she was also in Sucker Punch.
Great movie.
I do know that this girl was touted around on the internet as being the perfect person to play Carrie Kelly, who was the female Robin in Batman's future.
Okay.
In the Dark Knight Returns storyline, he has a girl Robin. And her name's Carrie Kelly, and they were like, "That's Carrie Kelly" on the internet for the longest. It was like, people were getting fan art of her as fucking Carrie Kelly Robin and shit.
Of course.
But anyways, The Ruins was. I don't know. I don't know what did it for me. So it starts off so strong. Like, okay, the first fucking I could have done without. They could have gotten to the fucking ruins a lot quicker.
Yeah, I agree. But once you got there,
it starts so strong, man. Those natives, he comes up
and them right up into there.
Okay, so a group of college students and young vacationing people take this trek to this pyramid somewhere in central Mexico. One of them has a brother who's supposed to be already there, a Swedish guy.
Right.
and he's kind of tagging along with them. And the trail's kind of hidden purposefully. They have a map,
right?
But they're like, hey, why would they hide the trail? You know, and there's a spooky little Indian girl kind of down the river, you know, kind of staring at them. And she kind of turns around and runs. It's like, I know she's running to tell people, you know, the fucking gringos are here.
Right. Time to feed the pyramid.
Yeah, well, I don't think that was it. The main guy, an Indian, comes riding up, a local, like Mayan or what, I don't know what the fuck he is. Aztec, maybe, whatever that local Indian group is, comes riding up, jumps off his horse, pulls out his gun, like big old fucking old school Colt single action, and starts yelling at him in some language that is not Spanish, so they can't communicate with him. And he's like, come to me, come to me. And they're like, we're not going fucking near you, swinging this gun around, and they keep backing up further and further towards this pyramid.
Exactly.
And the closer they get to this pyramid, the more bent out of shape this guy's getting, and they're getting. And one of the guys, like, he just wants your camera, like here. And this girl's already backed up into the vines, and they're like, you know, they're really freaking out now because this pyramid is covered in vines. You can't see the pyramid. It's a pyramid shaped green mass, and one of the guys takes the camera from the girl and goes to give it to the guy. He walks over to her, through the leaves and shit, gets the camera, goes walking back, thunk, gets an arrow through his fucking neck. It's like, what? And everybody's screaming, holy shit. And it's like, you're off and fucking running, dude. It was like, what the fuck is happening? And they don't know. They can't communicate. It's like, get away from that fucking pyramid, dude. And once you touch that shit, it's on you. You know, you can't, there are spores on this vine.
And they're like, no, now you're staying.
We can't let this vine out. See, it wasn't really about like
guardians.
It was more like, we can't let this out. You know, we protect the planet from this fucking thing. And they set up camp. And they're like, we can't let you off, dude. You know, like, I'm not going to kill you outright, but I can't let you off that fucking thing, man. And you'd think it would be more humane to just blast them right there in retrospect. You know, because they just go through some awful shit.
Now that you've woken those gods up, they need to be appeased.
Man, but then again, it turns out that this plant isn't just flesh-eating, it's malicious and intelligent and predatory.
Exactly.
And it's, on one hand, it's still just a plant, even though it's sentient and it moves. You can rip it off you and pull it off you. So it needs you sick and hurt in order to better make you a mule of you. So, you know, it puts these people through awful shit. And it also gets into you through cuts and shit. One of the boys wakes up with it going into his leg from a cut. You know, he's like, fuck, and he freaks out.
Well, wouldn't you?
You better believe it. I would have cut deeper than he did, and but I don't think it would have mattered.
Probably not.
It was on the microscopic level. It was like, you know, the shit was... And, of course, there's the science of it, the real world science of it, that there's no way a circle of salt, you know, 100 feet away from that is going to keep this life form in, you know, if it's that contagious, you know, but, you know, they made a point, there's no bugs here, there's no birds that land on it, there's, you know, it's almost like...
The entire area adapted around
everything knows.
bad mojo here.
And what ensues on top, you know, they all run to the top of this pyramid and there's a camp there. And what ensues there is just an exercise in survival and tolerance of pain, you know. And those are cool, always cool movies to see what a person can take. You know, like how far are they going to go to survive? You know, I always like those movies for some reason. And from what I understand, I read recently online that there's a sequel, a book sequel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm not sure.
I knew nothing about it.
I don't know how sure because the girl gets away.
There's always the survivor to tell the tale.
It was pretty interesting what I read of the first chapter.
Interesting.
She kind of bursts with...
Oh, nice.
On a plane.
Do you want to take a smoke break? And
yes, sir.
All right, we'll be back with the second half of shit worth watching over the last 10 years. All right, we're back.
It worked.
So, it did. So we were talking outside, and one of the things that you lit up about that we were shooting the shit was the new Blair Witch.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to stay away from remakes, like I was telling you, but at the same time, this one definitely deserves an honorable mention.
Was it a remake, really? It was a sequel. He was looking for his sister, the chick from the nose chick from the first movie.
Semantics, my man. It was a fucking remake, and we both know it. But yeah, it was a different story. It was
Would you call that a
kids.
millennial reboot?
I would.
You would?
I would.
I would too.
I would too. But they did a good job this time. It was a
direct sequel, though.
It was.
I did like that. I liked that they did that.
And the monster was fucking scary, dude. It was fucking
such
creepy
a cool
and
witch.
scary.
You know what?
It's the whole story about stretching her out with the
right.
rocks and then showing it stretched out like that. That was a good payoff.
I can't tell. Okay. The Blair Witch Project, the original, was they changed how you can make a movie. You know, they created a whole new sub-genre of movies.
Yep.
You know,
found footage happened for 20 years later.
Created it. You know, like it was pretty cool.
It was, and I think it was a game changer for the home wannabe director. It gave a lot of people that feel that, man, I can make a movie.
Blair Witch, Clerks, a lot of things came out during that period where it was like, I can make a fucking movie.
Yeah. I was one of them. I got the bug for sure.
Me too.
It's going to happen too.
Yeah, but, for sure. But
the house was great. That like you said, the whole Medusa aspect where you couldn't look at it directly.
Yeah, that was a cool idea. It was a fun idea.
It was scary. It recreated that hair standing on the back of your neck, which is gold for me. If you scare me, you've done a feat in itself.
The original Blair Witch was a really great movie, and I really liked it. And the only thing I didn't like about it was there was no payoff. There was no monster at the end. Right. And this movie gave you what they didn't give you in the first one. They it pays off in spades. That monster was. I can't say enough good things about that monster, man. It was such a fabulous monster, dude. And I don't know if again, I don't know if it was CG or practical.
I'm pretty sure it was CG.
Yeah. Beautiful monster.
Very well done. Yes.
I mean,
and I loved how they were using technology. You know, like the things that back in our day, you'd always say, "Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they just?" You know.
Yeah.
I love how they just like immediately shot up a drone and started looking through their fucking camera phones and shit. Like, of course, it didn't pay off because they were in that dimension.
New tech definitely had a big part in the new Blair Witch movie. Man, yeah, that
I liked everything about it. It was good. I was expecting a real turd, and
I was too. I wasn't expecting much of anything from it,
and it kept me going the whole time too. Like start to finish, it had me captivated. I didn't feel like going to bed or changing the channel, so it was.
Yeah, no, I like Blair Witch. I did. You mentioned The Conjuring. And
that was how I felt about how you felt about The Ruins. I think that really brought
Blair
it
Witch?
back. No, The Conjuring.
Oh, The Conjuring. Oh,
The Conjuring was amazing.
That was a game changer for you. Like this is the new. This is how horror movies are now. You know, this is the new horror.
It felt like someone my age was paying homage to that old school Amityville horror feel, poltergeisty. You know, the tortured family.
Okay.
It really had all the great feels, and they shot it on grainy film. The costumes were top notch for the era. The cars.
We talked about that. The clothes.
And the hair, it was spot on.
Everything was.
They really went the extra length.
Very 70s looking. They did a good job. And I've looked at photos of that couple, and they did do a good job of recreating their dress and their kind of look. Mm-hmm. Granted, they're actors, so they're better looking.
Yeah, exactly.
But
especially in the 70s too.
Yeah,
everybody looked like bad British people.
For me, what The Conjuring for you was Insidious for me.
Really?
Yeah. Yes,
Insidious.
very much so. And I think they're kind of like sister movies to me for some reason.
Really?
Yeah. They kind of the Conjuring movies and the Insidious movies, and I don't know if they're in any way. I know Patrick Wilson's in both of them.
Right. Right.
Other than that, I don't know. If
And I think a year
connection.
or two apart too. Like he was in 2 decent
like
movies.
is it the same production company or
I
something?
didn't care that much for Insidious.
No,
I thought
okay.
It was okay.
There's one shot Insidious that made that movie for me.
Okay.
And that was the shot of the demon behind Patrick Wilson. Just
right.
Just that shot of him in that. Again, when you know how I feel about The Exorcist.
Right.
I'm Catholic. So there's something about those fucking demons, man, that just nothing scares me like a demon.
Okay.
Nothing. Irish Catholics and demons don't mix well.
Right.
Apparently.
Right.
But it's that, and he was a great monster.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
I've seen him cosplay a couple times, and it was like, fucking stay away from me.
Right, exactly.
There was a really cool shot where you kind of see the demon, the fire-faced demon, sharpening his claws on this, one of those old school Conan sword sharpening wheel. And he's listening to Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim, and it's just fucking terrifying.
Creepy, right?
I was just like, and I'm a man. And it scared me like a kid. I was alone in the dark. I had my door open to the dark backyard. It's Saturday night, so I'm not going to work the next day. So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And man, did my imagination get the best of me. And that's what a good horror movie should do.
Exactly.
And so, because I'm a horror guy and I'm fucking seeing everything now, it doesn't happen all the time anymore.
Right. It's special when it does happen.
Yeah.
And it's noted.
And it happened for me with Insidious a few times. Okay,
so we've got to hit this one because we both agree that it's just amazing. Tusk.
Oh, Tusk was amazing.
Tusk really was.
You know what? It's fucking funny, man. I was talking about Kevin Smith earlier. He did horror. He made a horror movie. Mm-hmm. I knew he was a horror fan.
Did you see the one before that? The one with the church? Red State. It was advertised as a horror movie. It didn't come off that way to me.
Red State brought Kevin Smith back to, I think, the place that they thought he was going after Chasing Amy.
Okay.
And when he went and made Dogma.
I love Dogma.
It's one of my favorites. I don't love Dogma.
It's one of my favorites.
But people kind of thought he was going to go into not such a slapsticky direction.
Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, Jay and Silent
Dick and
Bob.
Fart jokes, man.
Dick and Fart, and he totally went there,
Yep.
He went there for a long time.
Oh, yeah. He was almost buried in it, He really crawled back up out of that.
And Red State changed that.
It did. It was a game changer, but not horror. But so, anyway, Tusk. That is a horror movie.
That's a horror movie.
It is.
And that is Kevin Smith trying his hand at horror and doing an exceptional job. Still feeling like Kevin Smith, though.
Oh, just riddled with dialogue. Mm-hmm. Of course. It had a very Kevin Smith feel. Everybody talks like they really do. Or how I do. Fucking chatty Cathy about it. And that the kind of thing where not necessarily Craigslist, because he got his number off of a fucking bar wall or bathroom wall.
It was something like Craigslist. It was. Kevin, have you ever heard the story? Kevin Smith give this story?
But it was on that was what
that's in the
inspired
movie.
it. But in the movie, it was like a wall of the bar or something.
Was that
a great story or something?
Okay.
But it's the kind of thing where it's believable these days that you could end up at someone's house and.
Have you seen
some
of these fucking ads on Craigslist and shit? Did you see that
Craigslist just got shut down from the government?
No.
Craigslist is still open, but there's absolutely no personals, no dating, no misconnections.
Really?
No, it's all gone.
Because of prostitution, I'm assuming.
Apparently, slave trade.
Yeah, for sure.
Skin trade.
Huge.
So, they shut the whole thing down. No more prostitutes,
God.
No more.
Wow. They'll find a way.
Of course they will. but Creeper City. And how possible is that these days? It was
very possible.
And you would never think of...
Scary. People are scary.
Pretend the worst thing that could happen to you over 5 years. And you probably would have never looped around to this motherfucker is going to turn you into a walrus.
Right.
Man,
what a bummer.
and the crazy story.
Fuck. And he
wanting to
lost
fight
his
him
shit.
and-
He was the walrus, man.
Oh my god! By the end,
We won't ruin this movie for anyone. I won't.
But go see it or figure out how to see it.
Watch Tusk.
It was amazing. Well
Watch
written.
Tusk by
Great
Kevin
actors.
Smith. Yeah. Johnny Depp has an appearance in it.
Right?
A really weird one.
Weird one.
It's pretty cool.
Right.
Tusk is definitely worth watching and was a pleasant surprise for me. I was expecting a silly comedy, and what I got was something truly horrifying.
It was,
to be honest with you.
It was described and
especially
sold
the end.
to me as a comedy almost, but it was someone recommending it that I don't.
Well,
think
it's
had
so
seen.
ludicrous and
They were
ridiculous.
like, this dude turns this dude into a walrus.
It's like, and Kevin Smith wrote it, so you're like automatically like.
Yeah, I was like, where is it going? And then finally saw it, and I think I watched it back to back over a weekend even to just absorb it.
So fucked up.
So fucked up. And again, we won't ruin the ending, but definitely a great ending, great movie.
God.
Another one I have to mention that was a surprise to me, and I avoided it for a long time, was Babadook.
I like Babadook.
I liked it a lot.
I think you liked it more than I did.
I did. It hit home for a lot of reasons for me. But it was
the monster scared me.
It was that was the hokiest part of it.
That's what you said, and I was like, "That's what fucking freaked me out."
The monster looked like a bad London After Midnight,
and he did. But London After Midnight scared the fuck out of me.
I guess I'm just not scared. It's too campy for me.
The
one part though when she went to the police station and she's trying to report that her and her son are being stalked and all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You see that Babadook figure hanging on the back wall. Like it's like a peacoat hanging up or something that just all of a sudden has like those claw hands.
Yes,
and that was solid scary. I'll give it to it. It didn't need the top hat and the campy claw mouth face.
He was a fucked up looking character.
And it took me a long time watching it before I associated that her sister had brought up how she used to be a children's book writer, and it was just the thing that kept hurting me throughout the movie.
Is
was,
she
where did
just
this book
going crazy?
Where did this book come from? What the fuck, And when the payoff at the end, and I was like, wow, it was good stuff. It was
so
definitely worth a watch.
Again, a movie I'm not going to ruin for anyone.
Yeah, me either. I'm trying to not be
the
too
monster in it it's about a single mother and a real problem child and the stresses that come with being a single parent with a kid who is not making it easy for you to raise them.
Right.
And the stress that puts on you.
Emotional.
The kid won't let her fucking sleep even.
Not even sleep.
Oh, God.
And that one scene when she finally gets that moment and gets him in bed and gets him settled and she gets out her vibrator and like she's right about to fucking come and boom, knocking on the fucking door, calling in, what's going on? It's like, that poor woman is on
and
her
you see her,
edge.
And she was never the same after that point.
No.
She was like, I'm just worn out and I give up.
And she
gave up.
And when she finally turns around and she screams at him, why can't you just be normal? Yeah. I associated with it and I was like, oh God, this woman's going to break down. And
you make her life so much fucking harder.
Right. And then with having that demon and all the negativity internally.
I'm just trying to protect us from the monsters, Mom.
And I think the ending again was a great twist. I didn't expect the basement scene and the feeding, and it was definitely worth a watch. That's one that surprised me.
I agree.
I have to add, this is a laugh. Like I have to add this one. If you haven't seen it, I know you haven't seen it. I'm going to tell everybody to check it out. Yes. It is a laugh. It's as much as a horror movie as Tremors is, but Cooties. You've got to see Cooties. It's a good time. Bunch of teachers locked up in a school with a bunch of kids that have cooties, and they're basically zombies. It's a good
did
time.
See trailers for this.
It is a good fun time.
I did. That's right. Fuck, I forgot about that.
So check it out. It's an honorable mention definitely for the last 10 years. It looked like
a good time.
I only have one more. What do you got?
Me? I watched a movie from South Korea, I believe, called The Host.
You were telling me about
that I really liked. It was a completely CG monster, but it was forgivable because it was quality and it was good. Very Toho type monster movie, giant monster. Not super giant though. It was massive. It was like bus size, city bus. There was some flop. He was much more of a amphibious salamander type.
Okay.
You know how salamanders would get those weird.
The wing ear fins?
Yeah, they're kind of like gills, like some kind of weird gill. It had those kind of all over.
Like, don't they throw them as a defense mechanism or mating or some shit?
I am not a biologist. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me either.
I wish I was, though. Yeah, I think they do something with them, I'm sure, man. But...
Subtitles?
Subtitles.
Okay.
It's about a family that is dysfunctional that comes together to save the youngest member of the clan. And they're all dysfunctional in their different ways. And like I was telling you the other day, one of them is an Olympic level archer.
Okay.
Who, her skill comes into play with rescuing, her from the little girl from the monster.
Okay.
And then there's one guy who's like kind of the main guy, I feel, of the movie. He's an uncle, I believe, and he's just kind of the family fuck up. Like he works at a food snack stand down by the shore.
All right.
And he's just kind of he just has no purpose in life.
Nothing going on.
The way it seems the other members of the family do.
Right.
And they kind of think he's a fuck up.
There has to be the black sheep.
And he like really goes to bat to get this little girl back. Do you know what I mean? And it was just fucking great movie.
All right.
I really liked it. There was a lot of heart in that movie,
You know what made
a cool monster. I'm a sucker for a good monster.
Didn't even make my list, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's one of the first movies you and I talked about when I met you.
Uh-huh.
But it's got to make the last 10-year list for sure.
Yeah.
And the only reason it didn't is because I forgot about it.
Okay.
Shin Godzilla.
Oh, fuck, it was so fucked up. I watched it because you told me to watch it. I was like, I'll fucking watch it. I'm like, you got good taste in movies, man. I was like, I will watch it. And I didn't understand really, like, oh no, like a new Godzilla. Like, this is a new Godzilla.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and I got to admit, I cheated. Before I watched the movie, I just kind of looked at pictures of it, and I developed a whole movie in my brain just off of the images.
Right.
And I had this really cool idea that because Godzilla's roots are in the bombing of Hiroshima and, I forget, Nagasaki? I should know. My country did it. I should know. It's based on those
right.
atomic bombs dropping. I saw these pictures of, and I just felt, I was like, man, did they make Godzilla literally, like, is his body, like, made up of the atomic, like, power and waste and the bodies and screaming for vengeance souls of all the people those bombs killed?
Yeah.
Like, did they go there?
Yeah.
Like, make the direct connection to that as opposed to just, like, a figurative one?
Right.
I was like, how cool is that? And then I watched the movie, I'm like, oh, that's not what they did.
No.
But
super cool.
Super fucking rad.
Right.
Really cool. I like the constantly evolving Godzilla.
Right? It just kept...
He kept changing and
growing.
Getting better powers.
So that's our list. Check these movies out. That's the last 10 years.
I do want to mention one.
Honorable mention.
Before we go.
All right.
It's called Splinter.
It's the first one you mentioned when we talked about doing this, and I still haven't seen it.
If you haven't seen Splinter, give Splinter a watch.
Okay.
It's hard to watch.
Okay.
Lots of broken, splintering bones.
Okay.
Lots of arms bending the wrong direction.
Gotta love it. I can watch that.
That's always hard for me to watch when an arm goes snap, crack,
backwards, up,
cold pop,
right.
And it's just
the leg going straight up through the raft.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it'll get
you'll notice a pattern in the things that I have a hard time watching.
Right.
Demons, broken bones,
wrong direction appendages.
Yep, there's others. Pool sharks.
Pool sharks. All of us have that. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you guys next week.
All right. Thank you.